Okay. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode. I feel this episode is going to be shorter than usual, but there's some ideas I would like to get out. Okay, so I was thinking about the unconscious. So the title for today's this episode is "What Happened to the Presence of the Unconscious?" Now, human beings, what are we? We are creatures that have emerged, and since brains emerged, now we consider to ourselves we have emerged. So we are an emergence of a creature that was with the earth, that was the earth technically, and separated from the earth in different ways. In two major ways we separated from this earth as being one, you can say, existential activity to becoming an experiencer in this existence. Now, I consider that the subjective evolution and the objective evolution. The objective evolution was the emergence of creaturehood. You know, that means there was no conscious personality. There was not even a creature conscious of itself. I would just say it's the creature, a creature moving. You know, being able to move on an earth where before there was just the earth. So these creatures that we are, that have emerged from earth, have also re-emerged to themselves as subjects. Now, that's the subjective evolution. Have we noticed we are not just a point in space, but a point in time? That means our names, they are points in time. The name is for a person, and the person is in time. Now, I saw it this way, that so a creature emerged from this giant planet, and through the subjective evolution, the creature created a world inside a world, and now we're living at a time where the world inside the world is more real than the world as it is. That means wisdom nowadays has just become to see things as they are because of the incredible ability of the intelligence to overlay various meanings. It's as if what the mind can do, what the brain gives the ability, the brain imbues itself with the ability of constant reanimation in every environment it goes or the moment it moves. So pretty much out of no system, we became a system. We became conscious of the system we were, and now we are going to a point where we are realizing our inseparability, you know, as a conscious being. And pretty much, guys, what I've been trying to explain from the beginning of the talk till now is really how we have become an object, how we have become a subject. And the moment we became a subject, that was a generation, self-generation. What that means is we're the same person from the moment we were born till now, even though our body changes, even though our psychology changes, but we say my body changed. You know, we say my mind changed, you know. But we at the same time are saying we are the mind, we are the body, you know. So we are a changing body that is treating itself as an unchanging body in the inner realms. What that means is I have noticed everything to me as a creature, as an existential being, change. That means since my childhood, the earliest memories of my life here, I could tell you my body has changed. My memories have, so many memories have been added since the memory of my childhood. And what that means is everything has changed. Everything has changed except the ownership of the moment. That means we are like an abstract owner of a universal event. And we are starting off as owning one part, one small part of the universal activity. It's like, yeah, this is my body. Yeah, this is me. The world, aside from every human being generating a world inside a world and taking ownership for that world as themselves, and aside from the witness within that has been blowing the candle of every birthday, saying my birthday, my this, my that, but it's as if it's been the same being blowing the birthday candle. So what does that mean? An object has noticed it's a subject. I have to keep recapping because it's an existential circumstance. An object became a subject to itself. Now this object that became a subject to itself doesn't know what it is more than a subject, and even though it is a subject, it is strangely using other subjects to come up with a model for its existence. That means it's as if the experiencer, let's say there's two components to being human, just like we have two eyes that see the same, two different eyes. Let us say that we are actually one being, but we are an experiencer, and a word I'm gonna coin here, existencer. What that means is there is a part of us that is existing in accordance to universal law. That means we are all inside the well of gravity. And it's super expensive to climb out of this well. The existencer is trying to continue the existence. The experiencer is trying to continue the experience. Now the thing is that because the experiencer, I feel, is like the experiencer is a cube and the existence is like a square plane. We are existing to experience. That means when I wonder about ask myself, why am I existing right now? It's to continue experiencing it. When I ask myself, why am I experiencing? It's because I exist. Two eyes that see the same, two eyes that make the being, two wings of the multidimension. Of those whose eyes are multidimensionally open. They have no fear of the simplicity and the complexity of existence, and they have no fear of the simplicity and complexity of the experiencer. You see, mystery can stretch in ways that we have never even considered as human beings. And so, shall the species evoke the new, or shall it just, I don't know, keep repeating the past? What can we do? We have to either use our past to keep the past alive, or use our past to build the road for the future. That is the joy. That means if somebody tells me, why do you have a past? It is only to assist my future, really. Because there is no need for memory if we were present. If you look at it like squirrels and birds on trees and in the sky, like they don't need a classification system of their memory to become one memory that rules them all. It is us that we have done that. Our species has gone next level. We are like an animal that zoomed out of itself through evolution. It is beyond human. And you know what's interesting? We claim ourselves as human beings, but what is the human being? Just a bunch of creatures in a certain phase of existence happening. That means really the world has no value. It has value to the self that's in it, right? The world is a value on its own. It's only that there is a opportunity that we are someone here, that the world we can have a relationship with the world, you know? It's kind of strange. It's as if like, does the species getting poetically enlightened, like using the term enlightened, if the species getting enlightened, does it mean we revert back to being like the squirrels and the birds, this silent knowing of nature moving around? Or does it mean that there was never wrong, that the mystery is on the level of light becoming existence? Right now, as I'm alive in this moment, it's just phenomenal. I know it's not a big deal, but really just the fact that we can see things, just the fact that we can hear things, just the fact that the senses are active together. And even the greater blessing that there is something left to do. If we were the size of the universe, there was no exploring the universe. You know, it's because we're the small and the big, there is something to do in the meaningless. I developed a model for what I felt is occurring with the unconscious. And to give a background and a context to these words, the conscious and the unconscious. The conscious is what the person can be in control of. That means anything in your unconscious, you can't be in control of it. Or even if you are in control of it, it is not you, or it's not a conscious archetype of you. Right now, this room is part of my conscious moment. In this moment, this room, I'm giving this talk in, I'm conscious of it. Now, what's happening in like the towns beside the town I'm in, you know, what's happening on other sides of the world, other parts of the world, that's in my unconscious. And if we look at what the internet has really done, I feel the reason a lot of us has gone towards it, just human beings are drawn by globalization, is because it's like we are bringing to the surface what was hidden from a while, either for a long time or since time immemorial. You know, some people want knowledge. And believe it or not, some people want knowledge until they notice like sand it pours from between their fingers as they try to hold it, and then they realize the nature of a moving realm. That the universe has not stopped, even though we may. Even though our journey ends at some point, every person alive right now. Life is a Shakespeare's play until you realize you will die one day. It's a very profound thing, you know. It's like this recognition, oh wait, it ends. All that I have began, all that I have ran towards, it ends. And so we have built a civilization preparing to just begin things. People are infinitely investing. Like if you go see the self-improvement thing, you know, we have forgotten why we even need creativity. It has become a consumerist universe. That means I wouldn't be surprised if aliens come to Earth to make contact and we're like, no way. And the moment aliens come to Earth, we're like, hey, do you want to buy life insurance? Like it's as if the consumerism will go on. Unless a species in the middle of this elementally unknown performance chooses to care for the inner jewel. The mind that was never an object. Wonder about this and I will tell you what enlightenment. Just open the eyes of the species as far as you can. You know, death and life, if the person doesn't move, have no meaning. If we never moved from the beginning of our life, there would be no meaning to life. That we can't die because we wouldn't have lived. Which is kind of strange. That means technically nihilism is like an indirect immortality of the void. I consider it as this: we were an unconscious presence. We became an unconscious personality. Now, what I mean by this is, okay, I gotta say it this way. We were the unconscious presence of space. Then we became the unconscious part. Instead of presence, I might say person, but we haven't gotten. Okay, here. We were an unconscious, we were the unconscious presence of an object. Then we were the, oh my God. we were the unconscious we were the unconscious presence of an object. Then we were the I'll say it, I'll just go with it. We were the unconscious presence of an object. We became the unconscious personality of an object. I will explain this. Then we became the conscious presence of an object. This is where we are now. Oh, sorry. We became the conscious presence of an object. And then it's as if the conscious personality. What I'm trying to say is, it was like, imagine like a code, world first, then self, right? But something strange happened where I would say from us being an object, this is where in different talks, I've even spoken about it different ways, there's two crossroads. That means after the, oh God, I'm confusing the audience. I'll explain the whole thing from it with totally different words. There was an unconscious world, okay? Then there came an unconscious self. Then here is the crossroad where from the unconscious self, either the conscious self came first or the conscious world. Now, I would say both models are applicable in my view. I've seen contexts that make both of them possible. But pretty much after we were a body just moving on this earth, I feel it's more probable that we actually became conscious selves than the conscious world is left. So literally our evolution is a round circle, but it's in a spiral-like manner. Where we were the world, we didn't know it. Then we became a body, an object, a creature in the world, and we didn't know it. Then we became a creature and we knew it. Now we have, the only thing left is either reverting back to the previous stages or becoming a conscious world. Which means right now we don't have the ability to be our planet yet. We only have the ability to be in our planet in stories. But what if the planet is us? What if we are the living earth? What if when a human being touches the soil or touches the grass of some grassland, some field, some yard, whatever, and you touch that earth and you're like, this is my home. This is me. You know, that's the thing I realize in this life. You can carry whatever kind of ego you want. You can put on the idea of yourself like a king's crown and march in the streets of your desire. But law, and above all, universal law, and above universal law, the unobservable universal law. What is required for human activity is to find a way to multidimensionalize the relationship we have with how we are human, and how we are human because of our past, and how we are human because of how all of it is present, and how are we human because of what we can be. That means a person's activity can be, you can think of it this way, all people on this earth, they have 3 screens. That means, imagine we say there's 3 kinds of people on this earth. Those who are still in their past, those who have found the present, and those who have noticed the future. Most people, I would say 80% of the species is in the past. Why? Because we're trying to keep the body alive, right? We haven't found a way to keep the body alive and at the same time be able to express the freedom behind our eyes as well. You know, like there is a challenge in this world. You know, there is a challenge that it's as if whatever the person desires, first of all, it's too big to have anything. And as I mentioned earlier, you can't even hold on to what you have. In this world, there is one thing that is very clear to me, you know, and that is giving. Giving, you can know what it is. But taking, you can never know what you are taking from your future self. That means I'm telling you, indecency in one moment of life, trust me, that echoes. And that doesn't echo in the way where sometimes we think karma is just from outside. Do you know that every human being has two kinds of judges in their psyche? That means their voice echoes in two rooms. Right now, my voice is echoing in two rooms. This is accurate. In front of my eyes and behind my eyes. Behind my eyes, the echo that hits whatever is at the back of that room archetypally in my psyche becomes my conscience. That means, you know what our conscience is? It's our future self acting like a guardian angel, but projected from our subconscious. So technically, our own hypothetical, that means a conscience is, the guidance comes because at some point the person knows. That means you won't have conscience if you don't know what is wrong. Do you know that means? It's as if like, imagine, okay, I'll tell you an example. Imagine a fully developed human being, an advanced human, imagine a human being, an average human being. Imagine a young child that doesn't know language yet, doesn't even have a personality, okay? It's just emotional expression in the body. And then let's say we have a robot, okay? And the robot has no clue what it's doing. So when we look at it, we look at the young child. The young child doesn't have a personality. So imagine we had an android robot, we had an average human being, and we had a infant human being that was like at a point where the child didn't have psychology. I'm just trying to repaint the picture. And so imagine in the hand of each one of them is a stick, okay? And in front of them is like a bunch of hamsters with like medieval armor, okay? Just like bunkering down, like kind of like gladiator movie scene where he's like diamond column or something, you know. Imagine a bunch of like, you know, Athenian hamsters, you know. So now imagine this android, this bunch of hamsters that are kind of armored up and trying to defend themselves, okay? The infant child starts moving the stick. The child doesn't know. The child's just laughing, hitting the stick. The child doesn't even understand the consequence, the result of the action. The robot has no other superior analysis of the moment aside from just the program written. So the robot is just mindlessly implementing the program. The child doesn't have a mind, but it's still implementing the program mindlessly. It doesn't know what it's doing. It's only the human being. The human being that has developed and has lived through language for some time, you know. That means I would say all the stuff I'm saying even about philosophy, these should, like, the person should live obliviously for some time in this earth, right? Then they learn from the mistakes of their efforts of their own soul, because something they don't tell you in this world is that when a person gets old, they are left with the memories, and their memories were how they lived. So if you're in a moment and you don't live, you're not true to yourself, you're leaving behind an like a unnecessary memory for your future self. Right? Man can lie to himself. And and in many situations has to, in order to not get overwhelmed by information. It is just that honesty brings person to their real karma. That means, let's say something's happening to the person in their life, they're like, I don't know why this is happening. The first thing is to find your real karma. So the person becomes simple and, let's say, honest. You unbanish or unexile your inner child. You request for your inner child to return. When I say inner child, this doesn't mean becoming a child, becoming careless or irresponsible. This means that the person has reached an awareness where it is okay to be. When it's okay to be, your intelligence activates. If you're not okay being in the moment, you can't do anything. You know, I remember years ago, like long time, when I was in like, it feels to me like lifetimes ago. But when I was in high school, you know, grade 10. There were these PowerPoint presentations that you know, pretty much everybody in the class had to do, and the teacher wasn't there, and so for the first time there was a camera. That was like the first time where the teacher was sick and there was a camera, and in front of the camera I'm giving a PowerPoint presentation. Grade 10 version of me, imagine. Super shy person, you know, just silent, you know. But anyways, so I start giving this PowerPoint presentation, and there's a point where, as if I go into this kind of like nervous, like pause. I would say nervous pause in the whole thing. And because I wanted a certain result in my outer realms, my inner realms instantly, when they were off the expectations resonance, they locked down as if they gave up. You know, that means really nervousness is a part of your mind that expected something is given up or has noticed the inevitable quicker. You know, that means it's the implication of an event. You know, that means it's the same logic that a person who knows less fears less, right? That means if somebody is irresponsible, they don't care. You know, that means there is less fear, but they know less. You know, there's something about if we do not tackle our fears, and when I say tackle, like if we do not find a way to efficiently and non-violently and competently, like with skill, with effort and skill, solve it. It's like, what can I say? At some moment in the life, the being has to be like, what eyes do I deserve to look through? Do I deserve these eyes? Do I deserve this universe? Do I deserve this kind of civilization? Do I deserve the story that I have lived through so long? And if you feel you deserve more, you will instantly march towards it. Let me tell you, we have this idea that the masculine and the feminine are separate. Of course, in biological evolution, yes, they are. Evolutionary biologists would tell you that. You know, but when it comes to the expression of the masculine archetype or the feminine archetype, you know, they are energetic intensities. That means on some level it's as if, like, let's even go deeper and we're like, okay, what's the gender of the subatomic particles inside an atom? Do you know? It's like, what gender do we give to quarks? On some level it's energy, and energy being expressed, right? And so there has to be an honor for the nature's expression, but there also has to be an honor for nature's potential. So what I am trying to say is that an advanced civilization stops the fear game. And I'm telling you, when a person stops fearing, and let me tell you, it doesn't mean fear stops. There's no such thing as fearlessness. A person always has fear. It's just the value. That means fear is not something that goes away. Fear is like a probability. And so the person can change it the moment they go and see what's behind the door that they have been afraid to open. And the question comes, where else can the human being be advanced? You know, that means where are we given the permission to be advanced? If you think about it, children are born into this world and there is so much information. It's as if the whole world, like we didn't realize it, suddenly all of knowledge turned into an IKEA instruction booklet, you know? An IKEA cat, you know? The information began becoming our, like, you know, information, there was a scene in Lord of the Rings 2, I'm jumping through many ideas here, but in Lord of the Rings 2, there was a scene where Theoden King, this very mighty king, he had been this weird kind of character named Grima, this person who had used some sort of magic. He had come to this king and deceived this king and pretty much possessed the king from in some way. Then Gandalf comes back, I don't know, with the white suit, you know, fresh out of the, you know, I don't know, afterlife. And Gandalf comes and shouts at the king, and the king wakes up. And Grima leaves. That character was deceiving a king. I'm telling you, there is anyways, Theoden King wakes up from the slumber of the words of the other. The brain is a gift, and by its mere potential, nobody can know really what they can do. That means we are unknown to ourselves. We thought just the world was unknown to us. And if we can find a way to be okay with the unknown, knowledge is set free. That means there's some people who they go to knowledge, and there's some people who knowledge comes to them. And what I mean by the latter, knowledge comes to them, means they're in the knowledge already. That means some people, they want to attain, they want to get something. Some people already have everything. They just activate it differently. You know, that means it's like life can transition to a state where it's not judging a person anymore in the mirror. It becomes something where it's just activation of different phases, where it's as if you're piloting your physical existence and you're piloting your psychological existence, your subjective existence, and attention is here all the, you know, during the whole thing. Attention is just chilling. You know, I could tell you that the coolest thing I found about in this life is the ability to see it so long. That's honestly the biggest thing I'm grateful for, that I saw it. I saw the living universe as we all are seeing it now. So first we had no clue there was an unconscious. Then we became conscious and we're like, oh wait, look at all this unconsciousness around, you know? Now, if the conscious attempts to become unconscious, to explore the unconscious, as Carl Jung tells us. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. I believe it was something like this. So that's the thing, that the human being has consciousness to mobilize. And this consciousness goes into the unconscious exploring. Now imagine everybody is an explorer. Every human being's eyes in the future, imagine they're connected to some massive cyberspace, I don't know, global reality or whatever. Let's say cyberspace mind, one digital mind. That would mean there is no people anymore. We will transcend peoplehood. We will become just humanity. That means, I will tell you, if extraterrestrials, if there are any, you know, Fermi's paradox says, where are the aliens? But like, I feel that just because we cannot see doesn't mean there's nothing there. The extraterrestrial individual relationship maybe has 500 years. I know that it's like after some point, it's in centuries. After certain centuries, we're going to stop being individual human beings. So it would be, even if an extraterrestrial lands at that time in the future, we would not be individuals. That means the individual, the extraterrestrial, will shake hands with one human being and we would all feel it. That means right now we are at the drop phase of evolution. We're like individual drops fearing evaporation. When we really become the river phase of human evolution, that's where the games of language change. Attention is the secret of life, honestly. If I could narrow it down, that what do we do here as creatures, it would be just study your attention. You know, that means, think of it this way, anything the person has worshipped, let's say you're a religious person right now, anything you have worshipped, anything your attention has gone to, right? Anything the person has treated sacred, holy, or of some value, that value is there because of your mind. And your mind is there because of this witness that we are. We are like a viewer of our own life. Like right now as I'm talking, I'm like, it's not just a first person point of view, I'm also conscious of the space. Sometimes even when in these talks, I feel like more like the space in the room than the person in it, believe it or not. You know, it could have been that a higher dimensional, like imagine a person was like, how do I keep a species for eons enslaved? Right? How do we create an incredible enslavement system? When I say enslavement system, I'm not talking about society. I'm talking about like a macrocosmic hidden picture behind the world, you know? I'm saying that the concept of freedom is a strategy to keep a human being endlessly searching for freedom. That means freedom, just telling people search only for freedom without looking at the mechanics of what is there. I'm telling you, if life was just emotional, you wouldn't need a body. You know, if we were here only to make emotional decisions, there would be no Even though some schools of thought see emotions as sensations, I see them as way more complex. Emotions are like bundles of events. It's an event entanglement in the inner realm, but of its own nature and resonance. That means an emotion can have a power that surpasses rationality. That means the person is weak. Their whole life they have been weak, right? But suddenly they see that there has been harboring within them an emotion. And when in their weakness they're pushed to the edge, suddenly, it's not just volcanoes that erupt. It is also egos that realize their presence. You see, there is a relationship. You can have this world which is visual, based on the senses. You can have a relationship with this world where the world has a relationship with you. That the bird songs and the whispers in the wind are part of your ear. That our mind never left the sky. You see, that is the glory, that is our future, that we build kingdoms on the land and we will build the castles in the sky. That legend is resurfacing. And pretty much my whole life's work. This world moves us and we move it. And if human beings are searching for freedom, they will never be able to return the great favor. Like, honestly, the karma of the universe is like the Godfather. You know, it's like one day I will ask you for a favor, but you don't know when that favor comes. And what that favor is not a relationship of self with the world. In an advanced civilization, a person, imagine a child in society freaking out, but it's an advanced civilization, right? And the child's like, I don't know who I am anymore. Do you know? This is messed up, nothing makes sense, oh my God. You know, like, okay? And you know what will happen? An advanced communicator in that advanced civilization would come and say, where is the realistic freedom? And in some sense that there is nothing wrong with seeing something be empty. Sometimes in order to understand the fullness of a system, we have to be able to see it empty. You know, it's like, you see the cup isn't like, the cup is half full, you know, with warm water, you know, you rinse it and you pour cold water, you know, you live like how you do in the streets. In an advanced civilization, you can say before we define something specifically in language, we wonder how it's being communicated. Right now, I perceive myself, see, we have the view of death because we think something's being carried in space and time, right? We are something in somewhere. But I'm telling you, a person can have a relationship with this world where they're watching how their attention is energy. And just by weirdly watching that, there's a simple trust, instant trust. I don't know. It has no, I wouldn't say it doesn't even have an emotion. It's like instant. There's some things in nature where it's like, just like, it's like the scent of the inner realms, you know. Can you imagine the person smells of food which is remarkable and they're like, what is this food? And they search the whole world and they smell every food and they see no food smells like that, and then they realize it was the food in another dimension. And the smell of that, I don't know, food from that dimension had leaked into our dimension, imagine. Imagine that's how we understood, like we realized true multidimensionality. Really what it is that energy. Energy is its own being, and we are the doer. And really we shouldn't have too much energy. Is like, I don't know how to say it, but it's like we don't think about the earth. We think about what to do in the earth. So similarly, it's like the second naturizing of conscious ideological living back into the unconscious. So what it is I think there's what's happening is either the circle of consciousness increases. That means we, let's say, connect ourselves to machines and somehow we're biological safely, and at the same time like super conscious of everything else in the world or whatever. You know, we find ourselves in information tunnels. In the future, imagine a person gets bored and they go to the grocery store and they're like, yo, can I have, I don't know, a pack of, I don't know, information lights, you know? And the person's like, okay. And the person in the imagine in the future what it is. It's like the person is not consuming sensory. The person is consuming cognition. The person is consuming massive information, right? That means it's as if like in the future, it's like information's gonna be as, I mean, it's even now it's like that, but like information has gotten closer and closer to being vital for food, like because the speed of the mind. That means the more faster, like you see right now, our minds, I feel, are 200 years faster than our bodies. So we will suffer if we want exactly just the mind to happen instantly, you know. That means the person's like, I prayed, I gave offerings to gods, I did all of this. Why can't I still contact something? Why? And midway, you know, all the sages and all the sages in Maharloka and even in Brahmaloka, the gods beyond, they're all laughing. They're laughing at this person who's like, why doesn't the karma of the universe let me see that what's beyond the veil, the supernatural? And the gods are laughing. You know why? Because the being doesn't realize what it's looking for. It is. There never was a person that is happy. There is a happy being though. Or being happy. There is no, you see, we're not like, we have made ideas fashion to like a fashionable blanket to cover ourselves from the coldness of the true emotions of our reality. We have to find a system. We're 8 billion brains. That means 8 billion world generators. If these 8 billion brains for a second honor the past, they just salute the past and they're like, thank you for your service, and they continue towards the future and look for the new. I am telling you, any human being who finds the new in whatever system, any person who finds the new dimension to any system, nature rewards you. And I'm saying that as a pat on the back of your ego. But really what it what it is that the value for the tribe. That means, think of it this way before we can actually so what do you do with a mind that's much faster than your body? Let's say the mind is 200 years. You start living in the inner realms as if it's in an advanced civilization. That means we can at least behave advanced, you know, and our inner realms allow us to even behave in future, right? So that means people, imagine right now there isn't androids walking in the street like normal people, right? Or clones walking in the street like normal people, you know, or aliens even. But imagine if it was normal. If imagine you were walking in the street and your inner realms could imagine, and it's like thousands of years in the future and humanity is interstellarized. You know, what can candles do? They can shine. What can moving candles do? Eternalize their glow, but the candle will melt. That means I am telling you, violence doesn't know nothing. Like the only reason people are being violent has to be self-expressionism before they return to the inevitable void. That means it's totally understandable that every human being, at the back of their mind, at the edge of the depth of their psyche, they're like, I'm in the middle of nowhere, what the fuck? You know? So that reaction, it's as if human psychology is a reaction to emptiness. It's as if consciousness rebelled. It's as if something that was in emptiness was like, I am not empty. And it's just, you know, teacups were filled. Okay. Before I end off, I wanted to honestly, let me say a few more things, and then I'm going to read something that I wrote a while back. What has happened to unconscious presence is that it became an unconscious position, and from that unconscious position it became a conscious presence. From the conscious presence it became a conscious personality. This can be a motto. So what it means is that we have gone to our conscious personality, and it is again going back into an unconscious presence. It's literally the cycle repeating. So we are living a seasonal existence. Anyways, and so the making of the conscious personality is this effort to wonder about the unconscious, but then to realize the novelty, to completely reinterpret the system and add something to the tribe. We were hunter-gatherer. When I say tribe, I mean let's say global tribe, or the global mind. The tribe was a kind of hive mind. So in the hunter-gatherer society, somebody would find like berries, and it would blow the mind of the tribe. Oh my God, there were berries this whole time. right? And now we're realizing, oh my God, the inner realms can be responded to this whole time, can be noticed this whole time. The most beautiful lie in creation, that man was a thought, that life was a thought. It's the most beautiful lie. Anyways, I wrote a book called The Source of Language in, I believe it was 2015, stretching to 17. This chapter is called Live in a Reality of Allowance. And there are quotes from, in front of each chapter, I've put 3 quotes from different people. And this is an unpublished book I'm reading. Hafez says, run, my dear, from anything that may not strengthen your precious budding wings. Rabindranath Tagore. Love is the only reality, and it is not a mere sentiment. It is the ultimate truth that lies at the heart of creation. That means when a person doesn't love themselves or love their world, they cannot know the truth of it. That means without love, it's as if there isn't higher dimensional intelligence. It's like the only thing that doesn't need love is just the periodic table. You know, it doesn't care for your love. Yeah. The elements are like, you know, a person could be, I love you. You know, I love oxygen atoms, you know, molecules, you know. And oxygen doesn't care. You know, oxygen is just being oxygen. Oxygen's like, great, you know, I'm just doing my job. You know, the elemental realm is so loyal to its presence. It's us who have forgotten that it is our birthright upon finding ourselves in a singular dimension to wander beyond it. I don't care what narrative denies that. Anyways, the third quote. Terence McKenna. What we call reality is in fact nothing more than a culturally sanctioned and linguistically reinforced hallucination. I could see the whole plant kingdom slide clapping for Terence McKenna. You know. So chapter, it's the entries, so source of language in this book, it's a series of entries. Live in a Reality of Allowance is the title. Live until you are the beyond. Spend enough time with yourself until the truth of all nature is found here and now. So I'm reading the essay, guys, here. Excuse me. So spend enough time with yourself until the truth of all nature is found here and now. Who are you being right now? Ask this until you have become just like now. Our civilization is just a single brick for the greater civilizations to come. You're more than an accumulation of memory. Do not doubt the divinity of the moment that comes and goes on its own. Confront also the true nature of all phenomena in this universal sector you have spontaneously sprouted into manifest form within. What is more beautiful, a field of flowers or the self-awareness of the field of activity of the knower within that could never be warded? A purposeless purpose is grand in a world of cyclical ignorance. Nature is not wrong. It is just that if the moment was called destiny, it would know better. You are the source of language. No mask can hide your undoable unified nature. Wash your face in a morning that has always been now. You're a moment of being. Never forget it. Have you noticed you live each day once? Because we are looking at time and space through a segmented categorical evaluation. We have to wonder how, in quotations, and what, in quotations, is the philosophy of language not revealing about direct experience. That many mystics, yogis, Zen masters, Buddhas, and just that inspiration is revealed. Do you see? We must realize. Are we treasure revealers of a material mountain-like world? Or are we treasure revealers? Or we must realize, are we treasure revealers of the mountain-like world, or are we treasure revealers of the essence and the origin of the spark of our consciousness, that the moment we open our eyes in the morning, we have opened all existence into being. It's no little thing being alive, so it's as if each day lives and dies. The moment you open your eyes, it's as if a being is coming to this world, and the moment you close it, it's as if this being is gone. Do you see? And so it seems, rather than us just living one life, each time we blink, we're living a new universe of thought. So we can say that the ability of the imagination is a multiversal, natural, intuitive presence that once you realize the nature of your reality and you are sincere and have, selfless devotional service to the Absolute and the core of what you are, the world will open up, not just the waves of seas and prophecies. Every moment is a reunion with the love of the cosmos that is manifested into an intelligence that can look into the mirror and be like, yo, I'm not a person alone in this world, I'm a universe happening. That experiential vastness is beyond the poet's pen. Who we are is a transcendental absolute intelligence of an emptiness that was already being what it was. Life is easy if you don't make it hard. Amanda in the chat section says, who are you quoting right now? I'm reading something I wrote in 2017 called The Source of Language. Yeah, it's an unpublished book. Hopefully one day you'll meet the day. The audience may not know this. I have a lot of writing. Like I was writing for years before I gave these talks. They're all piled up. I just haven't, I don't know, set them free yet into the outer realms. Anyways, I'm going to read one more chapter. The essay, the next entry is called The Guy Without a Watch. So again, there's 3 quotes in front of this essay. It says, the first quote is from Rabindranath Tagore. And hopefully my voice will allow me. Let your life lightly dance on the edges of time, like dew on the tip of a leaf. Benjamin Franklin, you may delay, but time will not. That's another quote. Martin Luther King Jr., the time is always right to do what is right. The time is right, always right to do what is right. That means, just one quick comment on this. There's something that surpasses all language, it surpasses all belief. It surpasses all ideology, and it's just human life sensitivity and natural decency. And it's like the most important language that if like this is the first language their parents of the children of the future generations need to keep in mind. That it's as if it's not just being an individual great. It's about the ability to be patient with a collective system growing at once. You know, it's as if we are flowers in a garden, and right now it's hilarious. It's like, imagine a garden with 8 billion different kinds of flowers, and these flowers are like either there's war, conflict, association, right? Even the flowers have all gone into the same group, but they're each individually different flowers, right? And there's some people who came in history and they're like, no, all the flowers should be one flower. Then there came ideological systems. No, you know, it's like everything, you know, same thing. And we have been trying to make this endless garden of novelty, garden of existence. We have been trying to just we have tried to take the world before looking at it, and so our ignorance has echoed. Anyways, I'm going to read the essay, The Guy Without a Watch, and this one is a short one. So, it is okay to be the guy without a watch. Time should not be bondage, but a catalyst of great inspiration for self-realization. What if life was a comedian and you are the joke? Could there be more to the act on this stage made with ether? In brackets I've written here, emptiness and the 4 elements. Could there be more to the act on this stage made with ether and the 4 elements? Earth, air, fire, water. By sincerely and truly acknowledging the accurate qualities and abstract dynamics these 4 words point to, the source is mirrored in how the movement of thought is a play of these elements simultaneously. Ether holds all elements. The idea follows that even thoughts are expressions of nature, and so in any enlightenment business, the true nature of the moment of our world must not be forgotten. To deepen this, when we look at the grandeur of how language, in quotations I've written, moving noise, oscillations, has come into manifest form, we are left in the spontaneous awe of how all that you have, I should say that differently, we're left in the spontaneous awe of how all that you have ever known has been here and now, always in all ways. Existence is not going anywhere. It is just non-existence that is doubting itself. The movement of the pen is also the movement of the mind. Did you know Mother Teresa was a cosmic Star-Lord commander of the peace of a world that is not just in quotations filled with light? What is it? The finale is now, with a capital N. Who are you, my dear reader? The watch is heavy, but the source of all intelligence is light. And that's the end of the chapter, the essay. So guys, it seems like people like these essays I wrote. I can open it up to the audience to choose a number. Let me see how many I wrote. Okay. Okay, here's the thing. I'm gonna read the titles for the audiences. For what am I saying? For the for the audience. And okay, nice. Amanda chose one. Good. All right, that makes it easier. Let's see what 12 is. Imagine 12 was one of the ones I just read. No, I'm joking. Okay. Okay, 12 is literally the next one after the one I just read. It's called The Ego Speaks Too Much. So it's titled that, and there's 4 quotes. Alan Watts says the ego is nothing other than the focus of conscious attention. Max Planck, Also, I believe Max Planck, he came up with the equations for antimatter. Very important figure in human history. Max Planck says ego is the immediate dictate of human consciousness. Pema Chodron. I equate ego with trying to figure everything out instead of going with the flow. That closes your heart and your mind to the person or situation that's right in front of you, and you miss so much. And of course, Pema Chodron, she has a very important point here. But I will tell you, you cannot let the kingdom of human intelligence, like, you know, that means back in the day, imagine you were just like a baker. Or if you were just some artist or whatever, you know, some painter, or maybe even if you were a warrior, just whatever, in the middle of the night in medieval times, if your kingdom was at siege, it didn't matter how much love you had. You had to actually keep that love alive, you know. But there is a huge key that if the person doesn't actually live from the heart, then what are you doing? That means it's like you can't have experienced joy, because the heart space is kind of like just acceptance of the presence of being. Really. Ramana Maharshi says all bad qualities center around the ego. When the ego is gone, realization results by itself. There are neither good nor bad qualities in the self. The self is free from all qualities. Qualities pertain to the mind only. You know, can you imagine, like, before I read the entry, guys, can you imagine someone being like, I got all these problems, and the guru's like, no you don't, it's your mind. You don't have the problem, your mind has the problem. And the person's like, what do you mean I don't have the problem? The person's like, are you your mind? And the person, when you really wonder about that question, if a person is their mind, if you can know you have a mind, you can't be the mind. That's the thing. That's the glitch in the simulation, the mystical glitch. The observer can't be the observed if it is observing. That means the instant a being gets a glimpse beyond the sensory, beyond the observable universe, the unobservable universe becomes a symphony waiting to be just found, you know. Alright, now to the essay. The ego speaks too much. This is definitely one for me. Essay 12, the ego speaks too much. When sincerity and peacefulness of the mind are found to become one, the true devotee of life's endless direction becomes the god of one's own imagination, just to see the void smiling beyond veils. As though rebels against the thinker, inefficiency will ensue that will just slightly influence. Oh, sorry, excuse me, I read that wrong. So I'll read the whole thing for you. When sincerity and peacefulness of the mind are found to become one, the true devotee of life's endless direction becomes the god of one's own imagination, just to see the void smiling beyond veils. As thought rebels against the thinker, inefficiency will ensue that will just slightly influence you from the true path of self-realization you already know, the garden of paradise. Is filled with many beautiful flowers. The intelligence of vision blooms everywhere. The presence of life is tolerant and whole. To be direct and complete, you must, as an I thought in quotations, observe yourself into your natural divine self and overall presence. On such a mountain peak, your true nature shall gift you with the remembrance of how you have always been your own blessing. Study the mind until God remembers God before God needed to be God. Of course, these are just words and I'm allowing expression to happen, as if nature was something never to ignore or move away from. Some have said 4 billion years of evolution has not been enough for the ape's advanced step. Others were never interested in the monkey business, going the wrong direction. As it is observed, we can choose to see the world within a frame of design or not. Some artworks are chaotic, but the imagery of accepted reality in your mind is like the edge of your ego, that like an iceberg reveals only a little bit of what it is. If reality was multidimensionally void, in the beauty of cosmic intelligence, the source of language has already responded to how the expression is to be received. A drop does not have any questions for the ocean that it is being. Do not focus your attention on what does not serve you. Prioritize self-realization like a father that is reuniting with his son, and I've spelled this S-U-N, the body of the soul, in quotation, in brackets ego, and the mind's void space, cannot withstand the grand majesty of self-realization stream, that once you are in tune with existence, non-existence could never touch the eternal moment that is beyond the expression of a cause and effect, story-like experience. There is no need to fight blindness with blindness. Shine like how the solar system has made you and kept you in your eyes. We are in an era where self-realization matters and shall become a great tidal wave and catalyst for new multidimensional renaissances inspired by the now to occur. Just like many applications, the application requires to be updated. Shall a loud mouth turn into the silence of consciousness? Here I've given a shout out to my online alias, Mr.Within. As Mr. Within has said, we are in many rooms at the same time. What that means is that the planet remembers every memory, every civilization that has spun around itself in the emptiness of space. Reverse engineer all illusions into a moment of truth. Either the explorer is clarity or the explorer is confusion. Don't fuse with a reality that is a fusion of cons. Honor your divine moment and let life reveal itself to you. For greatness cannot wait to meet itself beyond ideals. The hammer is heavy and it must be carried for a long time, but it is only needed for an instant of time. Break the hourglass of ignorance. Language should be utilized with the silence of divinity, already acknowledged as origin's origin. The sun does not burn you, the ego does. This unknown accumulation that is you is imposing a static idea, even though it is in a dynamic state. What is greater than words remains so. What is greater than worlds was beyond the clean mirror. Mirror. It is as if you have become so in tune with nature that your intuition has always known how to be. For intelligence is naturally being itself. Behind your eyes, you are God's essence. In front of your eyes, you're the creation of the world. There are many pieces to the ultimate piece. P-A-C-E. Nature has always smiled through your eyes beyond the demise of a world of hopeful interpretation. Activate your mind by revealing it as your greatest teacher. Who would have thought in this modern age they are their own greatest teacher? An advice to all writers: write the book that you want to read. So the best book you can read is the one you write. Great vision is self-taught. Intuition is a natural access beyond the door of thought. When you write the book you have awaited a long time to read, when you have awaited to see the face of your mind across the printed page, life will happen as it always has. Such work reveals to the world how the nature of your mind is working. There is no block. no structured linguistic barrier of words defining reality's activity and permission. The design of language must not be used ignorantly. What is the root cause of speech? For a person who writes something and wants to also share something, the experiences of the current moment must be communicated fractally onto the page, smoother than the reflection in the mirror of change. Reality requires self-awareness and sincere, selfless action. Like how social media must be, I don't know, somehow I'm talking about social media, like how social media must be used like watering a plant. And you must focus on the destiny of truth that is this moment is now and has always been the now. What secret do you feel that has not been shared to you, that this moment of existence and being has not already revealed to you as your moment? Beyond the heavy knees of writing a lowercase t in quotations, nature is its own divinity. Perhaps glory is selfless collective beauty and self-realization. Even self-remembrance is a great word to use here. Ask yourself and God shall answer as you. Language could never be like the prophet within your eyes that already knows everything. Just like how the emptiness of the cup, once the tap is open, has the potential to be full beyond the requirement for measurement. A person who writes something wants to share something. As you share your experience of life, and the more truthful and sincere the work is, the more people understand how the book reflects your mind. The mind is an unknown origin of the body's language. A book is a communication to the world around you. What do you have to say? Guys, this is still part of the essay I'm just reading. You should confront and communicate. A meditation shall naturally bloom in your moment, whereas focus enhances on the root cause of all problems. The center of the sky never went anywhere. Study the design of your experiencer, then transcend it. Who feels outed? Who can't accept? Whose inability? Are you separate from life or a part of it? Do you find the intelligence that you are separate from all that is being at once? As if you don't realize you're being a part of the universe right now? Human beings are natural expressions of this universal sector. By nature, we are cosmic. True yoga is not about the poses. It is about the selfless devotional service to the absolute intelligence that you are, and your moment is being. It's about being in tune with your moment, and it all happens. The surfboard on the wave of chaos and order is empty, beyond feet. Why do you think they speak about Bhakti Yoga? The yoga of devotion is the reunion of all worlds into the ultimate. Because those who have truly confronted this life as it is are not concerned about the ideas of this world. They realize experience is something for an idea to navigate, but beyond ideas, there is greater expression. An innate presence beyond the personality's design keeps and is the same primordial wisdom that holds the seer endlessly alive in the eyes of man and every living being within this living universe. A great unified intelligence that is highly unspeakable, but a remembrance that can never be forgotten. You are looking for, this is all in caps, self-realization. That means to study the self that you are, and that means listening to your moment of life as it is happening. Then I've written here self-realization, but the I in the middle of the word realization, I've put two quotations around it and just it's in caps. So self-realization for the writer can mean excuse me, I'm going to continue. Self-realization for the writer can mean for one to let the book intuitively happen, like the miraculous genius in the seed's design and within our open eyes. It is like once you have enough attention and focus, the nature of thought reveals itself. Don't chase the divine butterfly, let it land on your forehead. Nature doesn't run late. Time is a teacher too. Space is a student of the classroom of mankind's imagination beyond lines of dualistic reference. You are your own righteousness, and patience is required until the ripples on the pond have settled themselves. Clarity is origin. Find the witness within, for as you are a being within all that is present in this cosmos, you realize, regardless of how raw intelligence was designed in the furnaces of manifestation's origin, what is within you is an omnipresent moment of being. We're living in a divine universe that transcends multiversal and multidimensional ambitions. Access is granted to the willing. Sincerity is the greatest preparation. The wisdom of your heart, your greatest guide. Consciousness is being all that is simultaneously within the moment. How heavy is the light of a changing universe? Once you see the life around you, the whole moment is being all of it, and part of it through a simultaneous elegance and cosmic fortitude. It is so easy, your book will naturally be written, because you have realized what is within you is within all that is in the moment. Beyond the ignorance of education systems of this world that indoctrinate too much language and its emphasis, the barks of dogma for many can be heard from childhood on. A true free thinker is free beyond thought. Before any voice, the silence is its own only command. We are the stars of God. Nothing can be hidden. There are patterns here beyond the movement of abstract deities. Remind yourself beyond the experience of the edge of worlds. The song of the sage is heard here and now. Be playful with language until self-realization is allowed. Joy is intelligence. Can you imagine if we had, like, if we said the peak of knowledge is joy? Everybody on the planet who wants knowledge to be something, they say knowledge is power. Imagine joy is power. And when we're joyful, you know that there is no power games like that. The species just is like, all right, let's 8 billion human beings stop killing each other, you know, being violent like animals, and then advance and usher ourselves into the next great phase of human activity. That means all the activities being done here is energetic events, and these energetic events can be organized. They can be pretty much the person serves themselves. When you're done serving yourself, what are you left with? Like, what are you left with? What's the aftermath of selfishness? It's like selflessness, you know? It's like after the person has ate enough, you know, then they share. Because that's how the world is designed. The evolution of all of us is required for the greater possibilities of civilization, really. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening so far. You know, round of applause for those who endured, you know. The effort is to just advanced civilization, and we have at least one thing in common as a species, you know, we have ignorance in common. You know, that means it's like, even though we're all like selfish animals, you know, but we have that in common, you know. You know, our humanity is a language that we all speak through. You know, anybody who just understands how to be a human being, it's like, what greater enlightenment do you need for a world of a human being, you know? So anyways, guys, thanks for listening. I've been up so long, I can't, time doesn't exist anymore. So anyways, thanks for listening. I hope this episode was helpful. And one last thing I gotta say. Rumi, the poet Rumi says, when I die, I mean, this is pretty intense, but he says, when I die, I shall soar with angels. And when I die to the angels, what I shall become, you cannot imagine. So it's like, what that means is, if we truly comprehend, let's say, I gotta go back to this point, Carl Jung, general on a battlefield, commanding the future generations to consciously go explore the collective unconscious, right? So now the future generations are going in the battlefield, exploring the collective unconscious, and what is happening is that Carl Jung, in a sense, has, I don't want to say he has tricked us, but he has compassionately tricked us. Right? Because the idea is, you cannot make, as the conscious framework you have, when you explore, new dimensions of perception are added, so you cannot be the same conscious. You cannot be the same conscious being. That means exploration renders new eyes. That means, who knew? It's like, all it takes to be a new being is to look in a new way. And this whole time, people freaking out, people, you know, so much of their financial energy has gone to just them finding a mirror, you know. The biggest secret of life, who's gonna move you? That means energy has to, you know, the opportunity to direct energy needs to be utilized, you know. So the conscious, upon seeing the unconscious, transforms. That transformation is inconceivable. So the past is must be not identified with, or we're gonna be suffering till the end of time. Oh man. It's like the person has to put their past on airplane mode, then pilot from the presence of the moment into how the future is okay. You know. For an advanced civilization, time is there's gonna be so many philosophers that are gonna change how we see time. Any system can have a dimension added to it. That means everything since the dawn of mankind could have been updated. Just in the potential was there, the intelligence wasn't there, but the potential was there. Anyways, thanks for listening, and namaste.